In this video, you will get an opportunity to see a shutter actually working on a camera and how it lets light into the camera, and then also becoming familiar with the various shutter speeds available to you. First, we're going to be explaining that this camera is an old film 35mm camera. It's made by Canon, and what's nice about this camera for this tutorial is that it has an actual dedicated shutter speed dial on the top here, and the numbers are labeled and very easy to see. Notice that the very first number that I have checked on here is 1 second. That is 1 second that the shutter opens and closes. The 2 would actually be a half a second. The 4 would be like 1/4 or a quarter of a second. And 8 would be 1/8, 1/15, 1/30, and 1/60. I'm stopping here at 1/60 to tell you guys something. When you're hand holding the camera and you're not using a tripod, you really don't want to shoot below 1/60 of a second. Can you guess why? Yep, that's right. If you hold the camera and you shoot below 1/60 of a second, the shutter will be very slow and it'll record any camera shake when you're holding the camera, and your picture will be blurry. So we want to stay above that when we're hand holding. So 1/125th of a second, 1/250th of a second, 1/500th of a second, and 1/1000th of a second. And many new digital cameras can go way beyond 1/1000th of a second because they use the electronic shutter in them. Some do use mechanical, but some also use electronic. The next thing I wanted to do is actually let you see a shutter work. And what's nice about this camera is that you can open up the back of it and you can expose the viewer to what it looks like. So inside the camera here, let me get closer. This is where the film would go. It would go here and it would get pulled across to this side, and then the film actually sat in here in this little carousel. When you're ready to take a picture, you made sure that this was pulled back so that the film was tight. And then right now I have my shutter on 1/60th of a second, and since that was kind of the golden rule number, we didn't want to go slower than that. I thought I would expose you to that one. Okay? So when I press the shutter button right here on the top, it should open right here, open and close for just a second, and it would expose this back area with light. So let me press the button, and you saw for just a quick little second there, sorry, not second, 1/60th of a second, the opening, closing of that shutter. Let's try something a little slower. Let's do 1 second and see what it looks like on the inside. So what you got to see was that the shutter opened for a full second. In a digital camera, it does the same exact thing, but instead of exposing to film like this camera did, it would expose to a digital sensor. That wraps up this video segment.